Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our brand new series, Getting Personal with Parkinson's. This is a weekly Facebook Live event, and my name is Caroline Colas. I'm the Senior Director of Health and Wellness for the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan and the Program Coordinator for the Edmund J. Safra Parkinson's Wellness Program here at the JCC. For over 12 years, the JCC has been hosting programs for individuals living with Parkinson's. You can find these programs on our website at www.mmjccm.org/Parkinson's. I'm delighted to be launching this live weekly program with all of you. And our desire for this conversation is really to make Parkinson's personal and to put a face on Parkinson's, to introduce you to people living with PD who will share their strategies and their resources that have helped them thrive. And maybe even a celebrity or two will entertain us one of these days. This program is for you, anyone whose life has been impacted by PD, including those diagnosed, as well as family and friends. In fact, you're going to meet some of Rhoda's family today. Let us know if you want to be a guest or if you have someone you'd like us to feature or a topic that is of interest to you. We'll put it in the Facebook Live feed, but all you have to do is direct any inquiries to Whitney Chapman at wchapman, CHAPMAN, at mmjccm.org. That's her email. And now, I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend, Rhoda Cahan, and her husband, Sam Rudick, who will also join us. People who know Rhoda have no idea of her background before joining the Parkinson's community. She has a degree in math from Brown University, operations research and statistics, I can never say that word, Rhoda, statistics at the Wharton Graduate School, and computer applications and information systems at NYU Graduate Business School. At the time of her retirement, she headed up a 35 million corporate training division with over 300 people reporting to her. She was not planning to spend her retirement with her companion, as she calls it, Parkinson's disease. But as you will see, she is living a very full life without letting Parkinson's define who she is. Rhoda and I have had many chats, and we pre-recorded this one that I want to share with you now, and then we'll be meeting Rhoda and Sam afterwards for a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, listen to the conversation, and please put them in the comments, and we'll happily answer them. And now, on with the show. So tell me a little bit about you and just a little bit about your story.
Okay, well, I didn't really know what was wrong at first, that I was just kind of slowing down. And my daughter said, you've aged 10 years since the last time I saw you. And, you really better check it out with a doctor. And so, I just really didn't know any of the symptoms of Parkinson's except for the tremors that are so familiar to people.
Right. So, how long had it been since you had seen your daughter?
2 years.
Okay. Right. And then when you found out more, how did it manifest for you?
I had tremors and fatigue and not the same level of energy that I normally have, and short-term memory loss and trying to remember words and brain fog and not focusing. And then if I'm not conscious of it, my voice can fade. So I need to be aware of that too.
And when you say your voice fades, do you mean when you're talking, it kind of fades out?
Yeah, sometimes I just don't keep up the same degree of loudness if I don't think about it.
Right. Do you notice that in your breath?
Yes, exactly. And sometimes I have shortness of breath when I'm anxious.
I know you're in our Sing for PD class. In fact, you were instrumental in introducing me to Heather Curran, who is our singing teacher, and she's fabulous. And do you find that singing helps?
Enormously. And I have to tell you a funny thing about singing. I oftentimes just sing to myself while we're in class. And one day you played Famous Amos, Dead and Gone. and I was singing all this stuff. And I realized my first husband's name is Amos, and he's dead. And I'm going in class loving this song. The words didn't mean anything.
That's funny. They're like, they say that the songs in your head, they can be kind of like, I've never liked this expression, like soundworms. Do you
Mm,
find that? I know that you play the
yeah.
piano. Do you find that that's happens to you sometimes where you're thinking of a piece that you want to play and it plays over and over again in your head?
Oh, all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard famous Amos is dead and gone for weeks.
So, how has having Parkinson's affected your life? What were you doing at the time when you were diagnosed? Were you retired? Were you working?
I was retired,
Mhm.
and this certainly was not what I had envisaged my retirement. But I think you bring yourself to the situation, and you can't let Parkinson's be the front and center thing in your mind all the time. And I know that I tend to avoid risky situations. For example, we were in Ecuador and I was doing all the trips and whatever. And the leader said, you know, I don't think this one is for you. It's a very rocky climb. It's very steep. And when you get there, it's not that great of a view. So I just said, fine. And, you know, I think I probably would have done that anyway, with or without Parkinson's. And I'm not ice skating or downhill skiing or whatever, but I was never a great athlete or great at that. So, you know, it's not like I missed my figure skating or something, or jumping moguls. And Sam says he's not allowing me to skydive anymore.
Sam, for everybody, is your husband,
Oh, right. Yeah,
which
exactly.
which I don't know if they caught him. He was at the beginning of the show and said hello. And do you find that there are certain times of the day where it's easier for you to work?
Yes, absolutely. I need to do all the hard work in the morning. And I also work in 2 hours a day of exercising, either a class or walking or something. And it's also very tricky with the timing of medication and meals. You know, you have to wait for a half hour if you have this one and eat this one, have this one on an empty stomach and don't have protein till the end of the day or whatever. And so another thing is I find that I need to put a note about anything I need to remember. And if it's a long-term project, I keep all the information together on a page in a notebook. But otherwise, I just do keywords in my.
Well, that's good advice. I think I'm going to do that myself. And you know, a lot of people don't know about the protein that with some the medication for Parkinson's that it's best protein can interfere with the absorption. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a good tip for those of you that may or may not be aware of that. Um, and how has it impacted your relationship with, you know, Sam and your
Uh,
kids
well,
and
I think that in many ways, it's made my relationship with Sam closer because he tends to be protective of me, and it was no big deal telling him about it. And let's see, and also I'm so grateful for all the help that he gives. That you know, I feel I should be going out of my way in return to do something special for him all the time because he's always so considerate of me.
you know that reminds me of the power of gratitude, which you've
Yeah.
talked about before. Um,
Um, and so I didn't find it was an issue telling my family or whatever because we had 6 kids and 9 grandchildren, and none of them are living at home. So the kids can tell well, it's a combined family. We each had 3 that we brought to the party.
mhm.
So, you know, and the kids, as a matter of fact, Sam's kids are just terrific to me. You know, they bring food over. They ask us if we need rides. They're just really wonderful.
Yeah.
Better than I have 2 kids that are too important and too busy to have a mom.
Well, it sounds like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, you were pretty a mover and shaker too before you retired. So,
Right.
right. And what would you recommend that people do when they find out that they've had Parkinson's?
Well, I think the first thing is Google it, and you'll find, and it'll take you from one website to another. And the first one I went to was the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and then I asked people. The next thing I found out was that it was important to exercise. That's the most important thing that you can do. So finding classes at the correct level when you first start out is a little tricky. I first went to one location and it was just too easy for me. It was a waste of time. Then I knew I liked to exercise to music. So I went up and down the west side and walked into any ballet class or studio or dance place or whatever. And a lot of them were not right for me because the routine was too fast or it was too strenuous or it was too much effort to just catch on to what was going on. So what happened was I was at a cocktail party with my husband, and Marvin and Ivy Mansky were there. And I said, do you know, I'm looking for an exercise class that's doable. And Marvin said to me, you know, I really like exercising to music, and there's this fabulous class that Caroline teaches, and here's a guest pass, and be there at 8:30 tomorrow morning on Tuesday, and I'll see you there.
That sounds like Marvin.
Exactly. But he was so right, and I'm so grateful. And that was just the perfect class,
Yeah.
non-impact aerobics. And then I went to a basic fitness class that had nothing to do with Parkinson's, but it was Sarah's class. And I liked that because she played music that people could sing to while they were exercising. And it was at the right level. And then I just started finding out about more classes and more classes. So I added variety to it. And so, um, and I think the other thing besides finding out about it and you know, Googling it and finding an exercise class and whatever is to find a buddy somehow that you can talk to. As Miriam had indicated in her interview with you last week, that that's really important to have someone to talk to. And of course, it's a little more difficult now with remote classes, but you could always do it in the chat box or let the instructor know or something.
Yeah.
But
You don't have to go all the way to Japan
right.
to find a buddy. And you know what some people don't know about you and me is that you are actually the one that recommended my class or the class experience that we had to Kelly McGonigal, who is a Stanford researcher and author and wrote The Joy of Movement. And our NIA class and experience that we had in one of the classes is in that book. I think it's on page 80 or something. And I had known Kelly and she had known me, but she had contacted you. Now, how did that happen? She contacted you about?
I was in a dance for Parkinson's class, and she was there, and she said, you know, I'm writing a book on this, and if anybody would like to talk to me, you know, come after class. So I think I was the only one that, you know, went out to talk to her, and we had a nice long conversation, and I was telling her all about your classes.
Yeah,
And
that was a special class. It was a, I mean, sometimes what we do in NIA is we celebrate beginnings, endings,
um,
birthdays, right? And we had three different things going on at that
yeah,
day.
funeral, a birthday, and
Yeah. And somebody was getting married.
uh,
And we managed to do all of those three things in one class. It was pretty special. I miss being together in
yeah,
class.
oh, very much,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Oh, it was so good to see you the other night. It's the only company we've had.
I know, I know. I think we're all vaccinated, right? And so we
Right.
decided to have you have a new apartment, and I was so was such a treat to go over and spend time with you and Sam.
Mm.
What, and maybe we should ask Sam this question, but what should every caregiver know, do you think? Hey, Sam, you there?
Yes.
We're going to pull you in.
Every caregiver should do everything.
Yeah, you got to scooch a little closer to
You know,
Rhoda so we can see you.
You're the winner, between you and yourself. It's not the public, for public approval. It's a great joy to help someone, Parkinson's or no Parkinson's,
Beautiful.
or to be with the person that you love.
Mhm.
And I think also, I need to tell you what it is that I need, and you're very good about listening to it. So if I say I have trouble multitasking, don't interrupt me when I'm focused on a task, because I'll forget it and lose my focus. And he understands that.
Yeah.
Or if I say I'm taking my medicine, don't distract me because I don't want to forget to do it. Or the other thing is when I need help, I'll ask for it. Otherwise, I want to do as much as I can for myself.
In a summary, in a word, communication.
Yeah.
Like in every relationship.
And I think the other thing is that you really just pitch in. You can tell if I'm not tired, and you just say, I'll make dinner, or I'll do the dishes, or whatever.
Yes, that's joyous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you guys have both been, we've done the Parkinson'S Walk, the annual Unity Walk together for several years. And you've been on stage when we've done the warm up and the NIA classes. And that's been so much fun to walk around the park.
And Joanne was taking those great photos. She's such a good photographer.
Yeah, Joanne is also in the class. And I guess this year the Unity Walk will be virtual.
Right.
Which is going to be so interesting. I haven't participated in a virtual walkathon. I know that the other people have, but I'm looking forward to, why not? Do I walk in place? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
We did a whole Seder in virtually.
Right.
That was interesting, fun, and it didn't seem to be like even better than the real thing.
Right. Well, I've heard that a lot of people were doing virtual seders this year for Passover, right?
And a lot of confirmations, bar and bat mitzvahs. We've had some in our family.
Yeah, and we just had my assistant
Because
just got married.
Will come around, and it's like a new, like the invention of a new product, like the telephone.
I think Zoom is with us for good. Yeah.
It is,
Well, can you tell me, Rhoda, about your piano? And I know that it's a dear to you. And can you tell me about that?
Okay. This to me kind of reflects about how, in a general picture, I bring myself to Parkinson's. We have in the lobby of our building, there's this grand piano, a Steinway concert grand piano. And I kept looking at it and thinking I'd like to play it. And I was first, too timid and shy. And what if I make a mistake? And what about if, people don't like the music or whatever? And then one day I was walking by and I heard a guy playing the piano, and he was playing a piece that I play. And I was saying to myself, if he can do it, I can too. So then I thought, gee, it would be great fun to play piano duets with him. So I asked him if he wanted to play piano duets, and we started doing it regularly, and I started practicing, and it became like a hobby, the way people that, have a hobby or some craft or something they like working on. And then we added a violinist to the group. And
who lives
in the building. And then I saw a cello case downstairs at the concierge. And I asked him to, find out whose apartment that was for. And so before I know it, we've got almost a trio, but at least duets. And we play on Saturday afternoons, and the violinist plays on Sunday afternoons. But I guess, at first you feel, self-conscious maybe, or concerned about when you have Parkinson's of, just not maybe having the same confidence or something. And then this is, I think what I brought to it is what I try to do with my life of, I'm a gregarious person, so it would be fun to play duets with somebody. I made it into something more than just playing the piano, and made it a fun activity that I look forward to and practice every week.
Well, what's amazing is you did this all during COVID.
Oh, exactly. That we don't play for more than an hour because you're not supposed to have close contact with somebody for more than an hour in an indoor situation.
And we don't allow more than 50 people to listen in.
Yeah, I think that's just great. And you've tried all kinds of new things. Like, let's list them. Like studio art. What else?
Um,
Boxing.
Boxing. Let's see, tango for Parkinson's. Let's see what some of the.
Didn't you say something about a Shakespeare class?
Shakespeare.
Oh yeah, Shakespeare for Parkinson's. I don't know anything about Shakespeare or acting or whatever, and I thought, it's not like everybody in here is some professional and really knows what they're doing. I'm, an equal with them. So I've done cycling and all kinds of dance classes, Zumba, jazz, tango at the Argentine consulate, knitting, crocheting, book clubs, walks, puzzles, bridge before COVID.
Now, Sam, do you come along?
Wherever possible.
Well, you're taking exercise classes.
Oh, all the time, yes.
You take
come along.
You come to my class.
As often as possible.
Yeah. And what has PD taught both of you?
That you gotta you have to really be, like anything in life, you have to work from the top. And that if you fall down, you're still in great shape if you're up at the top. To keep the relationship vital, humor, sense of humor, and communication is the biggest item.
Yeah, I love it. And Rhoda, what about you?
Gratitude. I'm a better listener than I used to be. And I pick up a lot more on tone and facial expression. And so I listen more closely and attentively. I have closer relationships with my family because my kids, even the one that's too busy, the two that are too busy to have a mother, listen to me, when they call, they really do. And I'm willing to try activities that I'm not going to be a perfectionist with, that I know I'm not going to excel at. And, it's not like everybody else in the Shakespeare class is an experienced actor. I can try it. And so what if my artwork isn't as good as my grandchildren? It's still fun trying to create stuff. And I also find that I'm more attentive to people with physical disabilities. I always would help a blind person across the street or open the door or something for somebody. But I just realized, what a real difference it makes, for example, in classes at the JCC, if somebody's in a wheelchair or something, you are cognizant of, whatever it is they need to get set up in a class, or people on the street that have disabilities, helping. And I guess I'm not letting Parkinson's rule my life. You know, it's a new companion I wasn't expecting during my retirement, but I think that I bring all my most positive attitude attributes to dealing with Parkinson's. I'm gregarious, I'm well-rounded, I'm persistent, positive, upbeat, and disciplined. So I bring all of that to my companion, so I can have a full life.
I love the way you say that, Parkinson's my companion, right? That you're sort of dancing with it or going through life with it. It's not ruling your life,
Right.
but it is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you both so much. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you.
You're the best.
And Sam, what a treat to have you come on in as like a surprise visit. That's great.
Thank you.
That was fun. Rhoda, are you there with me? Yeah. And now we're going to get a chance to hear you play the piano. Do you want to go ahead and introduce this little segment for us?
Oh, sure. Well, I'd like you to meet my inspiration and fellow pianist and neighbor, Anson Kong. And for those of you that know him, you would never suspect that he's not a professional musician, but rather that he is getting a doctorate in computer science and he loves rock climbing. And I must say that if I saw him on the street, I'd have no idea who he is because I've never seen him without a mask on. And I can't wait until he's old enough to get vaccinated. So I can meet him and his lovely girlfriend who did the piano video for us. And love to have them come up for drinks. And my husband, Sam, is the audience that applauds. And
the cameraman, right?
Right. No, the cameraman is Anson's girlfriend.
Okay,
And,
gotcha.
the piece we've chosen is a rondo by Weber. And just as a tennis player might throw the balls 3 times before serving, that he's got a certain routine. We play this every time before we play together because it gets us to focus and be attentive to what's happening. And so that's a superstition we've used today too.
Awesome. This is your warm-up, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful. Well, Matt, if you would play that for us now, that would be great. What a delight. Bravo, bravo. All right. So it's Rhoda Sam. Wow, the duet was truly amazing. So beautiful. Have you noticed any changes in your playing because of Parkinson's? I'm curious.
Yes, I definitely need to take my meds
Mhm.
prior to playing, at least 20 minutes before. And I also take my stronger medication before playing. And I uh, like to play early in the day while I have my energy and focus. And also, the light is better for reading. And Anson didn't never know I had Parkinson's. I never had any reason to tell him until doing this video.
Oh,
And and so, if we would come to a difficult passage or whatever, I would say, let's skip it. And we just do that. I wouldn't struggle trying to learn something really difficult. I didn't want to get frustrated. And also, if I said, let's take this passage a little bit slower, he
wow.
just accommodated. And so I also I have a good sense of rhythm, so I would just keep going, and I could fake it if I needed to. And if there was a note that I always made a mistake on when I played, I just write the letter of the alphabet in of what it was so that I could get it quickly. So
I
I
love all your strategies. You really are setting yourself up for success. And I think that that is what I hear you saying, whether,
I,
picking the time of day, picking, taking the stronger medication, making sure that you had a partner that was supportive of you, and really just playing to your strengths and enjoying it and not playing for the sense of necessarily mastery or perfection, right?
exactly.
Yeah. You seem so busy. Were you this active before your PD diagnosis? How do you manage all these activities that you do with sometimes, PD has fatigue and the medications when they start to wear off and that kind of thing.
What do you think? Would you think I was active before Parkinson's? No, just different activities, but not in a frenetic kind of way. I
Uh-huh.
do take time to smell the roses when I run out of steam. And then, I just enjoy keeping myself active and doing a variety of things. So, yeah,
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm just I like being busy, so it sounds like you do too. And what about, are there any tricks or hacks, especially when the medication is start to wearing off?
okay. Well, first of all, I wear a pocketbook that has an outside zipper with a pocket in it that I can easily grab my credit cards or cash or whatever, so I don't have to fumble at the cash register or getting out of a cab or whatever to make that go
Okay.
smoothly. And another thing is I put things in the same place all the time. I know my medicine's here, my computer devices are there, my mask is here, and um, we have a sign by the front door with a list of things I have to remember to take with me. Be sure I have my meds and water and whatever. Um, Another thing is I always allow extra time because
Mhm.
I tend to make mistakes when I'm under time pressure, like, forget something. So I allow 15 minutes to a half hour more than I think it's going to be necessary. And I also set alarms as it's useful to me. For example, I have a certain routine of certain classes that are the same time every week. So I set the alarms for the, that go off automatically on those days for those classes. I don't set alarms for medication because I don't want to be one of those capture robots, that identify bridges and tunnels and whatever, street crossings, traffic lights, whatever, with all these different alarms going off with different ringtones and all that. And it also helps to have a routine every day and stick to it. that I know I get up, I wait a half hour before I do this, I do that next, I eat next, and then I start exercising or whatever it is. But it really helps to have a routine. You don't want to just stay in bed and do nothing. And I try to go to sleep at the same time, more or less each evening, and not listen to anything too dramatic before I fall asleep. So I think that's,
Yeah. You know, it's funny that science tells us the power of habit and routine. And it's good for everybody, actually, because you're working with your body's system, right? And when you set up regular routines, waking up and having some water, going to bed at a certain time, not watching anything too stimulating before you go to sleep, eating at regular intervals, taking your medications, exercising at regular intervals. Body just gets used to it and it kicks in. So that's very, very wise and very smart. What did you look for in a doctor? What was your criteria? And do you have any advice to give about that?
well, as I said, my daughter was the one that told me I should see a doctor. So I first went to my primary care physician, and he suggested that I go to a movement disorder specialist because at first, you don't know what the issue is until you're diagnosed. So
Right.
going to a general neurologist, seemed to make sense. And then when I realized I had Parkinson's, um, the first thing that I associated with for physical therapy is the Rusk Institute. And it was a popular name and whatever. So I called a half a dozen times and never got an answer.
Yeah.
So I realized that
Busy.
I needed to be associated with a doctor that could get me in. So once I knew that, I knew I wanted a doctor at NYU and I wanted a Parkinson's specialist. That was important. And also, I wanted somebody that was aware of the latest research or involved in research
Sure.
himself or herself, so that I would be able to get advantage of the latest medications. And then, of course, what most important is having somebody that you can relate to and cares about you and whatever. And I found that in Dr. DeRocco. I mean, he's always had something so wonderful to say to me. The last time I went to visit his office, he said, if I didn't know you had Parkinson's because you're sitting here in my office, I would never pick you up in the general population as having it. And here you've had it for 6 years. So that's so encouraging. And I know he's a frequent speaker here at uh, the JCC, and he's on PD Now group. He speaks in the evening.
Yeah, we have, he's the founding MD for our program. He's somebody that I work very closely with and just adore, and brilliant movement disorder specialist and researcher. And yeah, he presents for all of our PD Now events, which we have 3 times a year, and updates and research. So we'll get him on the show. We'll make sure that he comes on. What non-medical things do you do that have helped you navigate this companion called Parkinson's?
Right.
That you
Well, my daughter is a healer, and she's helped me very much with lessening my symptoms. Uh, I get massages. I'm grateful and stay positive. Um, I'm aware of what I eat, foods that are supposed to be good for Parkinson's or not good.
Right.
And I've developed a spiritual practice also, thanks to her. And I also have the feeling of do what's important now, and live life to the fullest. I certainly wasn't counting on Parkinson's and COVID and whatever in my retirement. So,
And
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
we at
Sam.
Berkeley, at least I did, come to a conclusion that Parkinson's is not our friend, our companion, as we were saying. Without really trying, let me go back to a story. When a woman is pregnant, everybody focuses on that woman. She gets all the attention. The significant other doesn't get much, maybe none. You know, it's all about her being pregnant. Once she has the baby in America, it's all the attention is given to taking care of that baby. You want to be a good mother, good mother. Well, that's not the way it works. It should work. If you having a if you're having Parkinson's and you focus on your the each other. If you focus on each other, it's not there up front in front of you. And it makes a big difference that you're helping each other and not going out of your way. It's always a joy when you do something for someone. You say going out of your way, but you love helping someone.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to we do care for each other, and we have actually not made it the companion it is. We don't pay attention to it. Subconsciously, we're not making an effort to it.
Yeah, I guess to go back to your analogy about, the baby, it's like do you mean that you want to pay attention to both the mother and the baby, that you want to be paying attention to?
Yes, that the mother still gets attention, the significant other gets attention,
Yeah.
the relationship gets attention. That's the best thing you could do for the baby, as
Yeah.
opposed to just isolating yourself and taking care of
Right.
the baby.
Right.
Everything else goes to pot, and that's how a lot of divorces
Right.
happen. The
Right.
significant other's not getting attention.
So what I hear you saying is that, like, don't just focus on the Parkinson's part,
Yeah,
focus on the life part.
yeah. Well, we don't. We
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, no,
Focusing
that's
on
clear. I don't know if we have anyone, if anyone that's listening wants to add a question in the chat. Thank you for telling us, Sam and Rhoda, what Parkinson's has, taught you. I think everything that we experience, is one of my mentors told me, everything can teach you something, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and that's certainly true. And just sharing your time and your talent with
And
us. It was fun listening to you play the piano and seeing you again. I hope I get to see you in person again soon. We're right down the street from each other. And just thank you so much for sharing your lunchtime with me and for all the wonderful ideas you shared with us today. Any last minute thoughts? I think you might want to have a poem or something, right?
Yeah, this Robert Louis Stevenson poem that I learned as a child just sticks with me. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of it is more than I can see. It's very, very like me from my heels up to my head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. So that reminds me of my companion, Parkinson's. And I also want to share that I'm so very lucky and grateful that I met Caroline early on, and I attended one of her regular NIA classes, because I immediately knew that she and the class were perfect and a great resource for providing all kinds of special programs for Parkinson's. And she has, really provided very rich, stimulating programs. And I know that next week, Pam Quinn will be on next Monday, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her. I absolutely loved her movement classes. They're such fun.
Yeah, Pam is a dear friend, as are you and Sam. And I just, what I love about being part of the Parkinson's community is that we kind of fall in love with each other, right? We're in it for the long haul together, and that's something that I find really special and very inspiring. So I wanted to let everyone know that Rhoda also participates in a number of programs here at the JCC that are beyond our Parkinson's specific programs, including NIA, basic fitness, and more in our group fitness exercise center offerings. And this is in addition to her piano playing. And thank everyone for joining us today. Remember, this conversation is for you. So please let us know what you're interested in learning about or sharing with us. If you have any questions about living with Parkinson's or how best to care for someone living with Parkinson's, please let us know. You can always email Whitney Chapman at wchapman@mmjcc.org. jccm.org. And we want to have conversations that matter to people that are living with Parkinson's. So that's why we want it to be about you. We look forward to seeing you on Monday, April 12th. Next Monday, I'll be talking to Pamela Quinn. We're going to see her. She's a dancer. We're going to see her and a Parkinson's movement specialist, choreographer, and someone who was diagnosed with PD early. I think she was in her 40s, and she's also on our teaching staff here at the JCC. And we'll get a chance to see that. Did you see her film that she won for the World Parkinson's Congress that she submitted? It's a beautiful video. If you haven't seen that, we'll take a look at that next week as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam and Rhoda. Please take care, be safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.
Bye.